Hello, everyone. Michael Jordan fans are the best. And today we have our losers bracket finals in between
It sounds
Alessandro
awful.
and NNB Sports. What's up?
It sounds awful. You say when you say the losers.
It's high stakes in the losers bracket.
High stakes. We play for keeps here.
Nice.
Yep. And the debate is going to be in between who is greater, Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant. Alessandro will be representing, Magic Johnson, and NMB Sports will be representing Kobe Bryant. Not anyway. Yeah, I've been up for like 16 hours. So,
That's all right.
Alessandro, how are you doing today, sir?
Very good. Thank you, Dar. Thank you, and thank you, Nick, for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you live as well. And let's go.
Nick, how are you doing today?
Doing good. We'll see how this goes. It should be kind of interesting, I think.
Awesome. So for the people that don't know the rules, there's going to be 5 3-minute rounds. And Alessandro, although he had the choice to go second, he elected to go first. Are you gentlemen ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. For the people watching, there is a poll if you'd like to participate in who you think is winning the debate currently. And at the end of this, I will be putting a poll out for you to vote on who you thought won the debate at large in the community section. There will be a 10-second primer. Let's get it on.
Three, two, one.
Well, Kobe and Magic, I think it's one of the most difficult thing to do because we are talking about two guys. They defined the same franchise. So the Los Angeles Lakers, they both won 5 rings. They both are icons in their own right. And what right? Because I mean, we are talking really about two of the greatest they ever played the game, and to me, they're both in the top four. Actually, I have Magic in the top three, is third, and Kobe I have in fourth place. While I think Nick has Magic in fifth place and Kobe in fourth. Um, well, the only thing that I want to start with is, well, the impact that Magic had immediately in the NBA, because when Kobe started with his career a little bit slower, from the bench because of many reasons, but Magic started in his rookie season with a great rookie season. He came from winning a title in college to win a title in the NBA, and his first step was to not just bring a new energy and joy that I think Magic is really famous for. In the Lakers, they were guided by Kareem, which, as great as he was not. He didn't have that kind of personality, I think. Magic brought that to the Lakers. And what I think is the most outstanding thing, and one of the thing that nobody else has ever was able to do since then, is to be the Finals MVP in his rookie season. And with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out for the last game, he said, "Okay, I want to start as a center." He started as a center. He rotated with all the other positions, and he was able to line up a stat line that is really unmatched for a rookie and for winning a title in that way, with 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and I think 3 steals. And I think that alone for his rookie season was so much ahead of everything else that we ever see in the NBA, and is one of the first. And to me, that's the first reason why, as much as I love Kobe, this give to Magic a really huge edge in terms of his early career. Is He didn't have longevity on his side, which is of course on the side of Kobe, in my opinion. But the starting of his career, the impact on the game, on the
3, 2,
outstanding.
1.
Yeah, definitely agree. It's difficult. Like you said, we each have him at 4. He has Magic one spot above at 3, and I have Magic one spot below at 5. So again, we're arguing the fringes here. No bad intentions are meant towards other players or anything like that. I will say, kind of mentioning Magic's entry into the NBA. Also, remember Magic had 2 years in college, and Kobe came right out of high school, both at the age of 20, which would have been Magic's rookie year and Kobe's third year. Kobe at that time was averaging 20 points a game, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. So he had started to kind of come into his own. I would say did not have the same splash that Magic had. And one thing I will concede is I don't think Kobe can match the mythos of what Magic and Bird did in the NBA during their time in the 80s, right? I think that's pretty clear. That's one I can concede. But again, in terms of what they did on the court, I give Kobe the edge for a few reasons. And remember, we're talking about the GOATs, right? We're talking about top 3 to 5 here in each of our lists. So the awards are plentiful, the stats are plentiful, the moments are plentiful for both, right? And I kind of think I said this in my last debate is when making this list, and ultimately when I was trying to put people one rank ahead of the other, and you're essentially splitting hairs. The one thing that came into my consciousness when I was making my list is how people ended up being a bigger deciding factor than I originally had intended. I usually don't do that when making my rankings, but when we're arguing on the fringes here, I realized that became a big difference between the greats, right? And so to say that, I will essentially say this. Kobe coming back and going back to back in 2009 and 2010 is essentially what gives him a slight edge in terms of the legacy of these two players and whom in terms of whom you would consider to be the best, right? I think perhaps Magic is a little bit overall more competent on the offensive end. I think Kobe's two-way ability, though, is undoubtedly better, right? And two-way ability overall, what can you do on the floor is also becoming a big factor for me in these rankings. So Kobe coming back and going back to win 4 and 5 to tie Magic with a completely different cast and different scenario was a big factor for me in this debate. And then also the fact that Kobe has a plethora of all defensive awards that Magic doesn't have. He doesn't have one. And that ended up being the other big second factor for me.
Yeah, Nick put on really great things, and I can't disagree. The prowess in the defensive end for Kobe is just a very well known fact, and I can't dispute that. What I will say though is that again, I think what put Magic to me just above Kobe, and again we are talking about, as Nick said, is really splitting hairs because we are really small differences here, in my opinion. I think that what Magic was able to do in terms of dominate that era with Larry Bird, as we're very well known. There are 2 or 3 very specific things that and that's why I have to give the edge to Magic. Aside the fact that Magic was able to lead the league 4 times in assists and 2 times in steals, Kobe was able to lead the league only in points 2 times. But besides that, Magic did another 2 things that really amaze me when I see that. Is really something that is just a little bit less than Michael and Kareem, is that he was able to be in the top 5 throughout his career in assists. Kobe was never in top 5 in one single statistic for all his career, and he was in the top 10 in voting throughout his career. Again, only his second season when he was injured, but top 10 throughout his career. And again, Kobe, the first 4 seasons, he wasn't even in the top 10 in MVP voting. And Magic, it was top 10 in steals throughout his career, besides the last season, before the first retirement. Kobe was never top 10 in steals once in his career. Again, we are talking about maybe little differences, but to me, they're really very important when I want to look at the abilities and the statistical dominance of a player, which is not the only factor, because we know that Kobe is a much better scorer than Magic. Magic is a little bit better in field goal percentages and free throw percentages, but Magic was working a lot under the rim, and Kobe, we know he was a perimeter shooter, so his shooting is a little bit above, and we know that. But in terms of distributing the ball, Magic is just in another planet, because it's more than double the averages.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I think what you're getting at there is something I wanted to address, and that is kind of the way each way they go about taking over the game, right? But first, I ended that last segment about how what was kind of ultimately for me is the fact that he came back and went back to back with a completely different cast after years in between the three-peat with Shaq and then coming back and doing it again with Paul Gasol and crew. And that is like their supporting cast and what they had to do to win their 5 rings. Now, again, I'm not taking anything away from Magic, but Magic came into a very favorable situation with the Lakers, right? Him and Kareem complemented each other very nicely. Kareem won the MVP the year that Magic came into the league. He was on all NBAs for the next 5 or so years, all defense, that kind of thing. Never won another MVP, but Kareem and James Worthy and Cooper, they were, in my opinion, I know some people might say that Shaq single-handedly outweighs all those guys, but I would argue that's not the case. Magic easily had, I would argue, a more supporting cast at the time. Now, that's a byproduct of the salary cap and how things were structured back then, and that's not Magic's fault. But Magic essentially played with the same core of guys through his run to his 5 rings, which is a big advantage. You build camaraderie, you build a rhythm, you know what people like, what they don't like, what they're good, what they're not good at, you know how to push people's buttons, etc. Kobe never really got that luxury, right? He had the three-peat with Shaq, in which he had to grow up, and again, he easily was the second best player in the playoffs, maybe arguably after Shaq. And I know Shaq largely gets credit for those, but Kobe was intricate in those. And then to come back and do it with a completely different cast and go back to back and be the reason why they won. To me, Kobe had a slightly harder road to get to his 5. It's a little more impressive, in my opinion. Again, we compare the West in Magic's time versus the West in Kobe's time. I think the West is obviously much harder in Kobe's time in terms of what he had to go through each playoff series. So with that being said, then I'd also like to talk about how you were kind of talking about how they each take over the game. In my opinion, for Magic to have an equivalent of Kobe's 81-point game, he needs a team that can run and finish with him, right? And I know it's a team game and it's not to take over, but that is to say things need to be clicking, I think, and Magic is the straw that stirs the drink. There's no argument about that. But he needs great finishers around him, I think, to truly go to that elite level of just taking over a game, right? And I think Kobe had that ability on average more with his scoring volume, which I know he was not as efficient, but I think Kobe could take over a game much more often than Magic did.
Yeah, well, great argument from you, Nick. And yes, it's. I think it's true that Kobe, in the second part of his career, at the tougher time, I want to say something a little bit maybe controversial, but I think that one of the reasons why Magic was more of a team guy, and it seems to me that most everybody loved him. Kobe had a little bit of edge in his character, so maybe some contracts, not just with Shaq, because I want to kill that right away. Because to me, Shaq for Kobe was like Kareem with Magic. I mean, one without the other, they couldn't win. Period. Magic and Kobe off the Lakers. The Lakers had 10 rings more. I'm really sure of that. I'm not kidding. I think that's the truth. But what I think is impressive about Magic is, aside the fact that we didn't have the luxury to see the last part of his career, because he retired, he was like 31, 32. So he retired like 8 years before his time, or 6 years before his time. He couldn't go to 36 or 37 years old easily. And he retired after 2 seasons, with 2 or 3 seasons, he was in the top 3 in MVP, won 2 MVP straight, if I remember correctly. He was up there with Michael, battling at that level. The finals in '91, even though they lost, I have to say that final was a great display of Magic and his leadership. Without Kareem, okay, Kareem was older already in his last seasons, but still, he was a great center and a great shot blocker, a great defender, and he was able to lead that team with kind of some injuries throughout the season, and in particular in the finals without Worthy, and it was pretty hard. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, so I'm okay with Chicago Bulls winning the first title in '91. But I always thought to myself, what if the Worthy was good for the old finals, and Magic was able to take charge and do great things in that finals. What I also want to point out is that Magic throughout his career also faced great legacies, the great dynasties, because the Celtics, the Pistons, the 76ers, okay, he didn't have the last part of the career as Kobe that was tougher, but let's not forget they had to play against
1.
Yeah, one thing now, kind of time for my hot take. One of the things that I think gets overplayed about Magic, and kind of underplayed about Kobe is them as leaders. I think because Magic is the point guard and his team did win, I think he gets a lot of credit for being a good leader. I'm not saying he's a bad leader, or that he's not necessarily a good leader, but I think people just kind of auto say Magic led those teams to rings. And I think people, it's kind of the same knock on Jordan, because Jordan was a hard ass and he was a little bit more stoic. And he would snap at you from time to time. You know, him and Kobe kind of get this reputation that they're not good leaders, right? And it's just because of their approach. Again, Magic's showtime, running up and down, smiling. He's always in a good mood. And obviously, I think you kind of mentioned that's very favorable to the outside world. When people look at that, it's an inviting face, right? An inviting environment, right? You kind of want to be a part of it. It seems like a lot of fun. And then you look at Kobe and he reminds you of your boss, right? Like always wanting more from you. What have you done for me lately? You know, if you're not playing up to a certain standard, he's going to rip you a new one, whether it be in front of everybody or behind closed doors in a game or not. And so I actually wanted to say that I think Kobe was a good leader, right? Because he rubbed people the wrong way. I don't think is really indicative of him being good or bad. And so I wanted to make the point that in this direct comparison, I think they're very similar in terms of leadership qualities, right? Just different approaches, different auras that they sort of bring to the table and to the basketball floor, right? But I think Kobe was a good leader. Again, I don't think you can win 5 rings. Again, him winning going back to back proves that he was very much needed for that three-peat with Shaq. I just don't think you win 5 rings without also being a good leader. And I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way in this round, that I think Magic being a good leader is a little overhyped. I think they were having a good time. It didn't seem like there was a lot of chaos in between the team. You know, and you maybe look over at someone like Bird and how they run their locker room and things like that. And so I think there's just this Magic was just a good leader, you know, and I'm not totally sold on that. I think he was a leader, and I think it gets overplayed how Kobe wasn't fun to play with, or Kobe demanded too much, or things like that. I think Kobe was just as good a leader. I'm not going to say better, but I think he was just as good a leader as Magic. And I think the being a hard ass kind of sours people moods on that. But I think that's an important point to make this round, because Magic is considered the
3,
distributor,
2,
leader, fun
1.
guy, right? And I think Kobe is like that just as well.
Yeah, I think I knew that I want to I want to just poke you to just see that, and it's fine. You know, I agree that the fact that Kobe character was different than Magic, it doesn't disqualify him as a leader. I never said that. I don't want to say that, because again, I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I know that it was a hard has, so you know. But what I want to say about that is not just the leader in terms of what I want to argue is that not just because the leadership or the taking a charge and dominate the game in important moments is not just about one single thing, which is maybe for Magic is assist and distributing, and for Kobe, of course, in the most part is points. It's not just that. I think it's the leadership on court is a byproduct of everything that that one can bring to the table. And in my opinion, even though Kobe again scored much more than the Magic, the everything about the statistically for Magic and the way he was able to build the fast break since the beginning in with the Lakers, and you know, the Showtime Lakers is not just a name for me, is something much bigger. And again, Magic was able to yes, he had many people. Well, in the beginning, in the 80-81, Worley was not there, Byron Scott was not there, AC Green was not there, if I remember correctly. So you know, that builds in throughout the years, but since the beginning was able to show something that we had never seen before. And one thing that, although again is not one single thing, but I think is really important to remember the impact that Magic had throughout the playoffs, because the playoff success in the Lakers is very clear that without Magic, they couldn't go as far than with Magic, and we have numerous instances that we can see that, and we can see also Magic take charge in various ways. And I have to remind that Magic is the first all-time leader in terms of triple double in the finals, with 8 triple doubles in just
3, 2, 1.
very.
Yeah, so I don't know how much time I'll take up this round, but I don't know how to put this without kind of taking a dig at Magic, but I do feel like Kobe went through a lot more adversity in his career. And again, someone had mentioned that Magic as a rookie had to come in and win over his team, and that's very true. That's actually a very good point. It's hard for a rookie to come in, be the starting point guard, and to earn everyone's respect, and for them to trust that he can actually play and handle the ball responsibilities correctly is a big deal. That's not seen very often, right? Especially for a point guard rookie, in my opinion. But I just think that I kind of mentioned how Kobe coming back with a new team and going back to back to me was kind of like the like that one thing that was just kind of impressive, that it's no fault of Magic that he never got the chance to do that, right? But just coming out of high school, again, he has the whole thing with Shaq. Shaq leaves, that's a lot of drama. Kobe gets in some off-court issues, which is his fault and no one else's fault. Again, he has the Achilles injury. He comes back from that. The whole the cast going back to back. And one thing, and this is really not a knock on Magic, it's just kind of how they played, but once Shaq left the Lakers, Kobe was the top dog, in my opinion, right? Which is kind of odd because Kobe only won one MVP, and Magic won 2 or 3, I believe. He won 3 MVPs. That's right. So it's kind of odd to say this, but in my opinion, also Kobe was the top dog in the NBA for like a good 10, 12-year stretch there. And Magic always had Bird on the other side, who won 3 straight MVPs himself, right? So you could argue they kind of hold each other back and lift each other up at the same time in a kind of weird way. But once Kobe won the three-peat and Shaq left, Kobe was the top dog in the NBA, bar none. I don't think anyone would really argue that, kind of year in, year out. And so going through everything that he had, and again, the 81-point game, which at the time was bonkers, even though like 2 guys have gotten in the 70s, or 3 guys have gotten in the 70s since then, which is kind of crazy. But that and the achievement, and I think he just overall went through more adversity in the NBA. He was the only guy. You remember all the tension in LA when they weren't winning after Shaq. They trade Kobe. Can Kobe do it? He can't do it alone, or he can't do it without another superstar. To go through all that and come out the other side, going to the
3,
back-to-back,
2,
to me, like
1.
ultimately, the adversity with that puts him over Magic.
Yeah, well, great points, Nick. Really hard to argue some of the stuff you said. I think that this kind of comparison is really hard for me because I was born in 1979 when Magic started to play, and I'm just 1 year younger than Kobe. So I saw his career since the beginning, and it was like a friend because he was raised in Italy, as you know. So it was really, really difficult for me to have this kind of comparison. But and I had to study throughout the years because in Italy we didn't have the NBA in the 80s. But when I started to really study Magic, as I loved, as much as I love Kobe, and as much as what you said is just Kobe came back, meaning Kobe winning 2 straight is like when Michael came back and won 3 straight. It's okay, the team, but it was Michael coming back. It's a big deal. What stands out to me for Magic is that he had a very short career He won 5 rings. It was nine times in the finals. Yes, he had Kareem. I don't want to say that he carried Kareem, but we have to know, we know that Kareem was dominated the 70s. Then he comes to LA. Everyone was expecting that he could dominate with the Lakers. It didn't happen. They went to some Western Conference Finals, but they didn't click until Magic came in. Magic comes in as a rookie, dominates as great. Maybe Kobe, if he stood with the Charlotte Hornets, maybe that was better for him in that way. In the Lakers, he was a bench player in the first years, and that's normal when you have Van Exel and everybody else. But Magic ability to dominate an era side to side with another great like Larry Bird, and having a host of other great players like Moses Malone or Dr. J, Michael Jordan. Kobe, yes, he was the top dog, but Magic had to face a direct competition with great teams as a team player and with great other individuals throughout his career, from day one to the end, from his first ring to his last appearance in the finals. And that to me is outstanding. Is a level of excellence that he was able to have for 12 seasons is just something
3,
that
2, 1.
Yeah, so I think I'll be quick. I kind of tried to stretch out that last round for the full 3 minutes, but I also wanted to say, not many people, I haven't told or said this stated as such, but Magic Johnson was probably the first player that got me to fall in love with the game, that got me really interested in the game, like the history and things like that, minus just my dad and us playing ball, right? But I remember just the thought of a 6'9" point guard running down the floor, to me, was just like the coolest thing to ever think about when I was like in elementary school or junior high, right? As time went on, Larry Bird kind of took over, but Magic was my first favorite player. I remember doing a book report on him, all kinds of stuff, right? His story with, HIV and just kind of everything at that time. You remember, it was like 90s, right? So like that was still very much like a big kind of thing at the time. And just kind of all the things that he had gone through, and like just the thought of, again, his build at playing point guard just fascinated me. I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I wanted to say that, right? Like, I absolutely love Magic Johnson. He's my first star player that I ever researched about and looked up and got into and all that kind of stuff, right? So I wanted to say that, and I'm just going to reiterate my main points, right? Again, we're talking margins here, splitting hairs. To me, overall, again, when I make this list, Kobe's two-way ability, the ability to dominate on both ends. I'm not calling Magic Johnson a slouch by any means on the defensive end, right? You mentioned the steals and stuff like that. But just being able to lock up on a defender or on an offensive player as a defender, and his ability to take over on the offensive end as well, I think is a unique package that we've only seen from maybe one or two players in the guard position, right? In terms of being able to dominate on both ends like that. And so for me, Kobe, the two-way ability and overall the adversity he went through. I think the West was tougher at the time. I'm not going to say his competition was harder. I think that's kind of subjective, but I think the way the West was stacked in Kobe's time versus Magic, I think it's fair to say it was probably a little more stacked in Kobe's time, or that he had a harder time of it. Again, the injury, Shaq coming out of high school, and again, if he doesn't come back and win that back-to-back at the end of his career, then obviously he's definitely gets taken down a few rungs, right, in terms of the all-time list. But to me, coming back with the back-to-back, it's just the stamp, the seal, that him coming back and doing that as his own player in a new form, a new team, and to reiterate to everyone how good you are, to me, ultimately is what gives him the smallest of edges
3,
over Magic.
2, 1.
Whoa! Wow! Wow!
You're muted.
Yeah, I said, wow, it was awesome. For everyone that's watching, there's a poll if you want to just go and show everybody in the chat right now who you think won. Click on who you think won in the poll. However, the real measurement is going to be dropped in my community poll. And by Wednesday, that'll determine who won this. And it's going to be facing Jim, Self-Research NBA Facts, in the finals for the championship belt of the MJFB Summer Debate League. First, Alessandro, how'd you think you did?
It was hard. It was really hard. Nick made great points. I could have made the same points if I was in his place.
Yeah.
Because it's just said true things. But really, I always felt this connection with Magic, really, for the fact that he started in 1979. The year I was born in November, so it was really starting in the NBA at that time. So it was really hard for me to compare him to Kobe. I think I did a good job. I think I said what I believe, because it really is really small. Because for the longest time, as I said, in Italy, we didn't have the NBA in the 80s. I was a really young kid. So I started to watch and learn about the NBA after the 92 Olympics, of course. And so and to me it was like when I started to see Kobe, it was okay, Michael and Kobe. And then when I started to research, I had to face the fact that Magic's career, as short as it was really a little bit more impressive than Kobe to me. That's to me, the longevity is the only thing we couldn't see in Magic, and that's the truth. That's what I feel about this debate.
Yeah, and I also want to say I do think that while I kind of knocked Magic's supporting cast, I do think that minus that rookie year, you could argue Kareem was still pretty much at his peak. After that, Magic was the motor in the heart of that team. I do want to say that. Don't get me wrong, Kareem was still very efficient, still 20 points per game. His rebounds went down a little bit, but he was still very much a good contributing player, an amazing player. But I do think after that, Magic kind of takes over. He's the stir that's making that drink, or it's a straw that's stirring that drink. In my opinion, that's just kind of how I see that after his rookie year.
Awesome. So I'm going to drop the link if anyone wants to call in and give your 2 cents on the debate. I thought it was a great debate. I thought there were great points on both sides. And I will abstain from having a real opinion, as I have traditionally done. I have my opinions on the matter, but
I was going to say I can look up your list here. Oh, you have them almost identical to us.
Yeah. Haas, welcome, Haas.
Hey, salute.
How are you, sir?
Up.
Yeah, I came in, for the that epic, sports debate last weekend, where you guys had all the guys together, Scap and all the guys, like all 9 of you guys together. But anyway, let me get on this debate. I got Magic. On this one. I think that reasonable people might be able to argue this one both ways. In other words, it's not like a slam dunk on either side. But I do think that Magic has got this one, for me, somewhat comfortably, because of just the number of dynamics in Magic's game. Can I just ask the panel, can you identify like a hole in Magic's game on offense? I mean, I know that Kobe's got him on defense, so I understand that. But on offense, can we identify any single flaw in Magic's game?
No, I mean, some people argue the 3-point thing, but
that didn't exist. That didn't exist back then.
Even then, like he was still okay, like even for what he did shoot, right? So I don't really hold that against him. So I mean, no, there really isn't one, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I was thinking the same thing, and Nick, the 3-point, but they started to have the 3-point in the same year he came to the league, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So
they didn't have that. When he grew up, they didn't have that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
and one thing I saw some reel of Magic. He had a really good low post game too, which I was not aware of until I saw that video a while back. But yeah, Magic was good all around.
Well,
Yeah.
Magic had that baby hook. Like it wasn't like Kareem's sky hook, but it was a legit baby hook, and that thing extended out to like 15 feet. If you remember, if you remember in the finals, there's that epic, 15-foot sky hook late in the fourth quarter that Magic landed against the Celtics. That basically, iced them a championship on that shot. And if you remember, now this is going to be very interesting because at the time in 2000, let's say 2012 to 2016, a lot of people were trying to make comparisons between LeBron and Magic and all this stuff. False comparisons, right? But if you look at the second to last Cavs shot in the 2016 finals, okay, we're talking about the possession before Kyrie nailed the 3-pointer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people haven't noticed this, but I noticed it, and y'all can bring it up. You don't need my permission in other streams. Just bring it up on your own. But in the possession before Kyrie landed that 3-pointer, late in the fourth quarter, game 7, it's all on the line. LeBron understood all these, Magic comparisons. He tried the same baby hook or like 15-foot or 10-foot hook shot in the lane that Magic did against the Celtics, and LeBron completely bricked it. I mean, we're talking about brick house. It wasn't even close. Like, it was a total brick, and this was LeBron's. Like, how LeBron, he don't take orders. Like, if he wants a play designed, he's going to tell Ty Lue, look, this is the play we're running. It's down the stretch. I'm doing the hook shot in the lane, just like Magic did against the Celtics. And he bricked that so bad. It was like you could hear the bricks falling all over the place. It was just the worst brick I've ever seen. And that just shows you how, first of all, LeBron ain't Magic, but second of all, Magic had so many elements to his game. He had the hook shot. He had the passing and facilitating. He was a very good 2-point shooter. I mean, most people don't understand this man shot for his career. He shot 54% from 2. That's not easy to do. In his prime, if you took his prime, let's say from 83 to say, 87, maybe that's a part of his prime. But in that era, he shot 56% from 2. So, a lot of, again, this is a big problem I have. I've voiced this before. A lot of stat watchers, they just look at shooting and they just zero in on the 3-point percentage, and then they form a conclusion immediately without any other analysis or judgment.
Hey, Hoss,
I think Magic was a good shooter in his own right. Go ahead.
Yep, we got King's speech in the background, but I just want to thank you for calling in. We're gonna let King's speech on, but thank you for calling in, sir.
All right, salute to you guys. I appreciate your channel.
All right, thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
He is right though. Magic was a very effective shooter, very efficient.
King's speech, welcome.
Hey guys, how you doing? Can you? I'm hitting the highway, so I might go in and out, but I think right now you can hear me good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The debate
yeah. So, yeah. Oh, the debate went very well. I think both of you guys did a good job. Nobody, I like debates where you're debating two great players, without trying to do too much of tearing the other one down. Make your points on your guy, why your guy was great, and you might make a couple of counterpoints. Like Alessandro, I'm a 79 baby. I caught Magic. I love this and that, and I actually was a Kobe hater, but I wound up respecting Kobe's career. I wound up respecting Kobe's career at the end because especially when he did everything he could to get him to the playoffs in 2013 and wound up tearing his Achilles. But yeah, with Magic, I want to say, look at the '85 playoffs because that was one of the things where I was too young to really see it, and you kind of look at the stat sheets. Magic had 12. I think he had 12 assists in every single game. He averaged 16 or 17 assists a game, and he never had less than a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So Magic was just like he was a surgeon. He was a surgeon. Like whatever you needed him to do to win games, he would do. He had it in his ability to do it. If he needed more rebounds, if he had to go get 30, if he had to get 20 assists. I mean, I think one of those games in '85 he had 23 assists, and they won. They went to the finals.
In the '85 playoffs, Magic had 18 and 15.
18 and 15. Okay, so it was it? Did it round up to 16? It was like 15.7 or something like that.
15.2.
15.2. Okay, but either way, he never not one of the games did he have less than 12 assists. To get 12 assists in every game of a playoff run is just amazing. Like that shows you that no one could stop him for getting running that offense, getting others involved. And that was just a dominant. To me, that would have been a dominant skill that he would have took into his, mid-30s. We not tired at 31. When it comes down to it, he never played on a losing team at any level. That's something I'm gonna, credit him with. Again, Kobe was great. That low, once Shaq was traded and they kind of fell off out of the playoffs those years. I hold it against him, but then I also give him credit because he did take a pretty large squad to the playoffs. Was it 06? Yeah, 05 they missed the playoffs, and then 06 they got back to the playoffs. And he was dominant. He was the best player in the game, in my opinion, from that until LeBron won his first championship. Then I had to reluctantly give it to LeBron, But yeah, Magic, but you could say him and Bird were back and forth, but I mean, not only were they like 1 and 2 at any given time until Jordan became great, but they also grew the league to what it, started the expansion of the popularity of the league. So you got to give them credit for that as well.
That's true.
Looking at the game log for those entire playoffs, Magic once got 11 assists, and he got 12 more in everything else.
And every other guy. How many over 20 did he get? Because I used to, I'm only going off memory.
One.
How many times
he's only got one over 20, 23.
23. Okay, but everything else is like
20.
16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah. So that's just, that just shows you consistent. What? See, that's the thing about when they say LeBron is the same passer as Magic, it's just ridiculous. Because there's times when LeBron will get 3 assists, and he has the ball in his hands all the time. And that's something LeBron will never do. LeBron can never dominate a game while only scoring in the team. Magic can dominate a game, so could Bird. Bird could get 13 points and still dominate a game. And that's a testament to the all-around ability.
100%.
All right. Well, King Speech, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day.
I think if I can say something, I think he brought something that I didn't say during the debate, but that was a great point he made. And doing some research, actually I would say in the modern era, because back in the 60s or even in the early 70s, they didn't have all the stats as we know. But both Larry and Magic are very, very close, like 3 or 4 statistic less than a triple-double in the playoffs. Which is, to me, is just amazing because both they have almost 20 points, Magic, and more than 10 rebounds for Larry, and more than 10 assists for Magic, and they're really close with the other statistics. So they really they were able to dominate, even if they didn't score a lot, which is something that maybe today, I don't want to take this to a LeBron James bash, because it's not the case maybe, but it's true. They see a lot of points, so you are dominating. Okay, but I don't know, that it's kind of, when you see a guy that is not in his career is not doesn't have a double double, how you can say is really a pass first guy, stuff like that. It's not true. Larry Bird was much more a pass first guy than other players. Okay, so I don't know. For example, in Magic, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought this was a great debate, gentlemen. For everyone that's watching, the real poll I'm going to put up after I shut this down. And while shutting this stream down, there were 29 votes. 55% went to NMB Sports, 45 went to Alessandro. But check out the real poll later on. Gentlemen, you have any last words before we shut this thing down?
No, I enjoyed it. Thanks for the debate.
I enjoyed it too. Thank you, Nick. It was
Yes,
great
sir.
to meet. Thank you.
Yep. And as a reminder, the winner of this goes on to the finals against Jim from Self Research NBA Facts. So go check that out. That, depending on who wins, will determine the actual matchup of which team is greater.
High stakes, baby.
Yep. It's for the belt. But thank you all for watching. Thank you, too, for debating and joining. I just want to share, especially near the end of this debate league, that it's just stretched out for some of my professional reasons. I think you both have been great debaters, and either way, congratulations for making it this far. And I hope you both join the next go around of the debate league. It might not be named the Summer Debate League. Might do a winter one, to be determined.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you guys. It's been great.
Thank you.
And for everyone,